5, 4, 3, 2. All right, thank you so much for, there we go, picture. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll be hosting, I'm TJ. Hello,
Juneanne.
Ruth.
Hello.
Ken, last time I checked.
Thank you guys so much. So, New Year.
It is a new year, yes.
New Year.
Absolutely. Did everyone have a good Christmas?
Had a wonderful Christmas.
We're going to keep going back in the holidays, Kwanzaa.
Only if you celebrated Kwanzaa or what's the other one?
Hanukkah.
No.
The dreidel
Hashtag
song.
not Jewish.
But you like Adam Sandler. What's wrong with you?
I did not see that movie that you're referring to, unfortunately. But we got an interesting year coming up, and today we're going to be talking about Bird Box. But before we get into that, June, just want to tell people who are not familiar with you how I know you. You were in acting class for Tampa Film Network.
I am, and one of your students at Tampa Film Network, and I must say that you are an excellent teacher.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you. I'll pay you $50 later.
That's why you had to say that. Like, I must say
Starting
that.
to add up.
Brag for me.
Ruth, actually, we worked together with Film Punks.
Yep, that's right.
You weren't on the last project.
No,
My memory's a little foggy.
was not.
Okay.
I've been in
the
and
one
out.
before that. Okay. And Ken is
Old man.
old guy.
Yeah.
Shows up every
Now and then.
blue
Sporadically.
moon. Every
Yeah.
blue moon.
Mhm.
We can never predict blue moons. They just happen. But anyways, glad to be here talking with you guys. And did we just miss an award show?
Yes.
Golden Globes.
Golden
Okay.
Globes.
Yes.
Yeah, I spaced the award shows out, so
Yes.
my bad on that. Who won? Anyone of note?
I have no clue. I didn't watch it.
Are they all white?
I can't say so. I know that
don't watch
Black
TV.
Panther got some awards. So I didn't watch it, but I only saw it on trending that Black Panther did fairly decent. So anything else, I don't know.
We're
I
gonna have
have no idea because I don't even own a TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't. Yes, I am one of those people that watches everything on my phone.
Yeah, I think it means you weren't born in the 80s.
Oh,
but,
no. Oh, no.
You were?
I was definitely
Oh.
born
Were,
in the 80s.
were you in the tail end of the 80s? Or were you, like, firmly
A
ensconced
lady
in the
never
80s?
tells.
Yeah, because then
Especially
we can
when
kind
she
of narrow
has,
it in.
especially when she has sisters that are already married.
What's that got to do with it?
Because you
He's
can't
not
marry.
married.
You can't marry at like 16.
Oh.
So I'm a lot older than them.
I'm going to shut the heck up now then. Okay, all right.
Exactly.
Yeah, next question.
I can't sit there. I can't sit there like, yeah, I'm
We're
a
off to a
spry
great start.
20-something-year-old.
All right, so anyways, today, Bird Box. Bird Box. What's everyone's overall impression of Bird Box? What did you think when you saw it? What do you think about what everybody's saying about it?
Overall, it was pretty good. And I think that's pretty much what everybody's saying for the most part. There's questions about some things in it, but overall, I think everybody liked it.
Okay, I'll be the one who. Let's put it this way. I think it belongs on Netflix. Does that make sense to anybody?
No, because a lot of good stuff
No,
is on Netflix.
A lot of bingeable stuff is on Netflix. Not a lot of good stuff is on Netflix. It's not so much good or bad. There is good stuff on Netflix, but the majority of the stuff on Netflix is stuff that you can binge watch and things that you like to repeat watch and things that end up on Netflix because they really weren't good enough to get a wider release. And we haven't seen Netflix really attain those properties that they're, except for I think Roma, they just attained that, and they also did the Coen Brothers project, and so those projects I can see that they're trying to reach out to get they want to garner that we are grabbing properties that are award worthy. I think most of the stuff on there though is not. I think the stuff that comes to the top, just like with anything, the what they say, the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what it is. It's not so much that everything on Netflix is good. It's just that there is some that are good, but the majority are things that either you want to binge watch or that they are just mediocre at their worst.
But when you say binge watch, you mean
Shows.
it's good enough that you would watch it over and over and over.
Yeah, it's like comfort food. I mean, if I'm gonna go have comfort food, I'm gonna go have it at my house or at my grandma's house. I'm not gonna go have it at a 5-star restaurant.
I don't know if this is a good analogy, but so binge watch quality, good
Yeah.
quality.
I mean, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just not something that is award winning.
Okay, I get what you're
What you're trying to say.
I'm going to disagree with
That.
how you're defining that, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
What
I
have you
like
been hearing?
Netflix. I like Netflix and Hulu.
Well, I like them too. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that I know exactly, and the hierarchy of what is great and it's like, this is great. This is the cream of the crop. This is this, and then there's Netflix.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
You just didn't like
some-
Bright. That's all it is. You didn't like Bright. Just admit it. It's okay.
I've never seen that. I haven't seen a Will Smith project in years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's almost shameful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Will has
What
done
was-
some good stuff.
What was the last good thing he was on?
That's movie. What was the
Ooh,
concussion
ooh.
one?
Which one?
The
one with the
concussion
football.
one. Yeah.
Which one? What's the
What
name?
was the name of it? I don't want
God.
to Google it. I'll Google it.
Let's not Google it.
We can Google it.
You sure?
You can Google it.
Okay, he's doing it
And it's getting
already.
ready to do Bad Boys 3, so
Okay.
Oh, that's oh my gosh. Let me tell you, that's it. I'm waiting for that to come out.
Oh,
the
that's how we had to get
best
her to talk. Okay.
movie is Bad Boys. When she talk about binge watch.
That is a
Now,
binge watchable movie,
that's
right?
a binge
That's
watch
exactly.
movie
That's a movie
right
that
there.
you can go back and watch over and
Oh,
over again. That is
gosh.
a rewatchable movie. That's actually a good movie.
It's a one. I love
It's
one
really
and two.
good to watch on something like Netflix.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you
yeah.
would watch that again, and you would, and you would.
And next Saturday again, you can watch
exactly.
it. And when your
then
friend come over
you're
again,
like, oh, you know what we need to watch? Bad Boys.
if you call my daughter right now, that's exactly what she'll tell you because that's my thing. I love Bad Boys. Oh gosh.
You like Will Smith with the shirt off. That's what you're saying. That's what I
Did you
thought.
figure me out? Okay.
It's just every time she says Netflix quality, I'm going to remind you, young lady, Netflix brought us House of Cards.
Yes.
I love the
Oh,
first
gosh.
2 seasons. And after that, it just kind of went.
The first two, excuse me, all of them are great except the last one.
All right, it was actually called Concussion.
Concussion.
I figured that was what it is. I wasn't sure.
I'll give you the draw. I'll give you the fall off the season right before Frank Underwood
Disappears.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, spoiler alert. I'm gonna give you a 3, 2, 1. Frank dies. They kill him off because Kevin Spacey got himself in trouble, and he groped some kid or whatever.
He spaced out.
Yeah.
He spaced out. I like that term. He spaced out.
I'm going to be honest with you. I still love Kevin Spacey's old films. I would not erase those from history.
No.
I'm
He's a
like,
great actor.
I think he's a great
I haven't
actor.
watched
He's a great
the
actor.
series
He's a
yet, though.
creep. Yeah, apparently.
Everybody in Hollywood pretty much is.
Yeah, if
You go
if we
back
want to
and-
go down that line, that's true. Like for example, we all love Bill Cosby. I don't care what they say about him. His work is quality. I still watch his shows.
Well, it was a little bit before my time.
But okay,
Look,
all right.
all
But
the shows
Basically,
without before your
anybody.
time,
Look,
TJ.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest.
but hey, it's true.
Basically, anybody that's made it really huge in Hollywood has done some horrible,
Horrible
things. To get
things. I
But
agree.
I'm gonna make it really huge in Hollywood, and I'm not gonna do horrible things.
Not today because of the Me Too movement. Not today.
Yeah,
you
I
don't have
accept,
to.
I don't
So-
accept that as a
Anyways,
rule.
because I have a
that
daughter
if
and
you-
a sister.
No.
I would've
No, if
done
you
it.
look, you can be a good person, but the thing is that you're hanging around with people who are honestly. Let's just break apart what it really. Somebody who says there and he says, "I want to be famous." Already, they have some type of problem in their life that they think that being famous is going to fix something or another. That's usually the way it is. That's why you see all these people. Yeah, they have lots of money. Yeah, they have fame, but a lot of times these people have a lot of like emotional problems, and it comes out years later after they're dead or in some biopic or a book written about them years later, and in most of the time, in most cases, it's always something horrible has happened to them. And I'm just like, I wonder why. And I wonder if it's if there is an exact correlation between wanting to be famous, wanting to be loved, wanting to be accepted, and wanting to be, and then going out and pursuing a profession that basically, your life becomes an open book. It doesn't matter what you want to hide, eventually it comes out. Everything that you do in the shadows eventually comes out to the light eventually, even after you're dead, and then your reputation is totally ruined. But everybody, if you go back to, the 1940s and with this new Me Too movement.
Well,
It's a lot of people, for sure.
Yeah.
I will accept that. I just don't think that, I get what you're saying, that if you express, I want to be famous, if you show a whole lot of interest in that, you may have issues in your life. I don't think that that's a sign that you do. I just think if you're human, you probably have issues in your life.
Probably.
And if you get famous, everybody's going to know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and they
true.
just get multiplied, basically.
that's true. I totally agree with that.
It could probably complicate things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a sad industry because a lot of powerful people have been getting away with a lot of stuff, and it's coming out more and more now because
people are more willing to talk about it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I truly appreciate the Me Too movement. As much as it's people are saying, people are jumping on and that sort of thing, the gatekeepers of Hollywood and the entertainment industry were taking advantage of people. If you want to get this and if you want to get here, you have to do this, you have to do that.
and still do.
And still to
Yeah,
some
yeah.
extent. So, but in terms of the sexual abuse and all the other things that they've done, that's how people got in. And more people are having the guts to say today, yes, I was affected. In order for me to get here, here, and here, I had to do this, this, and this, and this. Such and such a person sexually abused me, whether it was verbally or physically, whatever happened. I'm glad people are doing that, because for someone like myself who truly does want to get into this industry, I don't want to have to deal with that sort of thing. I want to be able to get into an industry based on my skill and my ability. If I don't meet the qualifications, well, then tell me no. But don't tell me in order for me to get here, I have to pay this price. So I'm truly glad for the Me Too movement and the fact that things are coming out. Now, I suspect that in the next 5-6 years, it's going to go back to being the same thing it used to be, simply because people are going to forget about it. And it's going to be,
I disagree with that. I don't think that technology has never, its effects on society, I don't think that there's any examples of them being reversed.
It's not a matter of it being in reverse, though. Everything comes in cycles.
Right.
So, for instance, everybody's always known about the casting couch. It's not like it's been a surprise.
Exactly.
Since
True. That's
filmmaking
how-
has started and
Yeah.
entertainment has started.
Yeah, that's how everything started.
Excuse me, I'm going to play innocent for a second. What is the casting couch?
really? It's the sexual abuse bit where you have to do what you have to do to get where you have to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
But you know something? But okay, but
I
here's
just
the
want
thing.
to put out that I've never been to the casting couch.
Okay,
Me either.
I hear everybody's point of view, but if you go back and you actually, I've always said, abuse goes on as long as somebody's willing to take it. And that is very true. And I think now people are saying, I'm not willing to take it. For a long time, it's like, as much as there is fault in what most of the time it has been men doing to women, women can also do it to men, obviously. But what has come out usually now is, men are doing this to women, or men are doing this to other men. And it's usually powerful people, that's why who are doing it. That's why we have a problem with it. If it was the other way around, I don't know if we would all be so invested in this, because that's usually the way it is
What do you
in
mean?
life.
What do you mean, like,
Well,
we
no.
would care?
If it was like let's say it was before you knew who Marilyn Monroe was, she came out and she seduced this guy to get a role on a movie. I don't think any of us would sit between and be like, oh, me too. This guy needs to come out and say that Marilyn Monroe abused him before she was famous.
Crying inside.
I think today, in today's society, it's more acceptable for men to reveal things that are hurting them than it was
No, I'm
30
not-
years ago, or things that they were affected by sexually.
No. I'm not talking about men coming out and saying, it could be another woman saying that about another woman.
Right, it doesn't matter.
It's just, I'm saying that if it was flipped around, if it was the one who is trying to get the role, as opposed to the person, offering the position, it would be, people would actually have people, because that had been going on in Hollywood in the 1950s for like it still goes on today. There's women who are willing to, I mean, for lack of a better term, to put out to get ahead. And I think that is also part of the problem. If women or men, even men who are trying to get their foot in the door, if they see that as a legitimate way to get their foot in the door, you're always going to have this problem. Because it's not just a one-sided problem, it's really a two-sided problem.
Yeah, but that happens in corporate America as well.
Exactly, that happens
that's
everywhere.
That's not just entertainment.
Well, that happens everywhere,
there.
and that's why we say it's the power. We only have a problem when it's the powerful, what we consider what it is, abusing the less powerful, than when we see the less powerful taking advantage of something to get ahead. We don't have so much a problem with it in a lot of ways, and I think that's where we're wrong. We're only seeing this as a one-sided issue, and we need to see it as a, it's what it is. It is one coin. It is one coin, and there's two sides to it.
I think that it happens both ways, and whoever is doing it, if it was that the females or male or whoever was doing it in order to achieve their goal, I think that will come out too. Because at this point, because people are being accused of sexual molestation, whatever it is, people are willing to say, no, this person approached me and that person seduced me in order to get this position.
No. We're saying that. But are we gonna start a Me Too movement for them too?
Well, I mean, wrong is wrong regardless of what you think. And it's only wrong if you think it's wrong. Because, for example, the woman that's starving and hungry and is trying to feed her family, or the man, whichever one, both parties, and is looking to do what they have to do to achieve their goal, they don't see that as a wrong. They see them as doing something to
that
achieve
they have
an
to
end
do
goal.
in order to.
Right.
I understand that.
Right. So for that particular reason, just as you said, people can say that's wrong. Hey, I'm stripping, I'm doing whatever people are doing to achieve their goals, to feed their family. I'm selling drugs, whatever it is people are doing in order to feed their families. Well, that is wrong as well. So what are we going to say about that?
Well, let me tell you, I am one of those people who actually does think all that stuff is wrong.
So, I thought you were going to say something else.
No. Fundamentally, it's wrong. Like, any which way you put it. Now, that in larger society, we say it's wrong or right. We give it, because that's what we do. We say that's wrong or this is right, and that's why these movements start. I'm just saying that in order for it to really stop, we need to call it as it is, and we need to say the powerful men in these positions who are taking advantage of these young women, because that's most of the time that's what it is. They need to stop that behavior, and the women who are trying to get their foot in the door also need to stop their behavior, because they both need to stop, because they're both wrong.
I agree with you on the one thing, because I'm actually going to be speaking about this next week. In order for sexual abuse to be stopped, people must speak up. And even the person that's the perpetrator and the perpetratee, the person who's being abused, because most of the time the person who's perpetrating were sexually abused themselves.
Yeah,
and
hurt people, basically,
right.
Is what we're saying.
And so, but in order for us to resolve this issue, it must come to light. And people must speak in it, not in the sense of, oh, let's cast this person away and put them in jail and throw them out. It must be talked about in the sense that this is a disease. I want to say something in terms of that. We're talking about sexual abuse, and I'm going to go in just a little deeper, and then I'll
let's not go too far.
Let's not go too far
here.
Okay.
You want to make a transition? Let's talk about DB Wong on SVU.
Yeah, because I was going to go deep, but I'm not talking anything personal. I was talking about the Bible. If we wanted to say that, the world was created with Adam and Eve. Okay, how did all of us get here?
Well, I'm going to,
all right,
from just a personal point of view, not say it was Adam and Eve, but I can see where you go.
But according to Christians in the Bible, it was started with Adam and Eve. How did the rest of us get here?
I would say incest.
Okay, cool. So that's what I call a spirit. And so that's basically what's possessing this entire world, not just America or the entertainment industry. It's a spirit, and it's a bad spirit. And in order for us to deal with it, we must name it and bring it out. So that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I feel like where technology is, just to I guess put my final thought on this.
Yeah.
I feel like the availability of technology to everyone is giving everyone a little bit of power.
Yeah.
And part of the culture of places like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook is the ability to show people things that, that happen in your personal life So this whole Me Too thing, I don't see the effects of it going away, but what I do see is just the potential for all types of things that have been acceptable in culture that are not good. You know, people suddenly getting on board with a movement and saying, "Oh, I'm against that too." You know, I don't want to be left out, because that's part of what social media culture is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I don't want to be left out. I want to be a part of
Exactly.
what's going
And
on.
that's probably one of the reasons why I think we're talking about Bird Box today in particular, because have you seen the memes, people? Have you seen the memes?
That
Have you
segue.
seen the videos?
Yeah.
Am I a pro or am I a pro?
You are a pro. I guess I can't get the damn thing to show, but
Such language.
watch my sandwich.
Yeah, but I mean, we've all seen. You said Ken said he's seen the movie. I've seen the movie. You mentioned that you hadn't seen the movie.
No, I have
But
not.
you have seen.
But I've
the
seen the
memes.
memes. I've seen the memes.
Exactly.
I've seen people
So-
just be. One man was running with his daughter and slammed the child into the wall.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm the total opposite. I hadn't seen the movie until I'm fresh off of watching the movie just a day or so ago, and I hadn't seen any of the memes because I don't really go on social media that much.
My job requires me to be on social media constantly, so
Oh,
I
the
started seeing the,
shame.
the
The shame.
memes and stuff, and I was like trying to like keep myself from getting too much info, because I like to enjoy a movie. You know, they even
Without
start,
spoilers, basically.
without spoilers, and it's easy to spoil it for me. So it's like I don't watch the trailers usually. They started
Me
playing
too.
it at work. I just put on the headphones. I was just like, this is not happening. I'm gonna go home
I'm
and watch
just gonna
it.
put blinders on.
But I went home and I watched it. Netflix, they don't always do good work, as Ken was saying with Bright, and I think with this movie here. But usually, what has been the trend with Netflix is when they put their name on something, it's usually like one of these really experienced directors who have been doing it
Yeah.
for a long time for the movie industry, coming to Netflix, and they're like, whoa, they're just gonna let me do whatever I want. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make the same money. And it's great work. Like I was saying, like House of Cards, like the lighting, the
Yes,
storytelling,
beautiful.
all of it is really good. Usually, when they put their name on something, it's really good. This is one of those cases where it's not. I don't think that it's going to. I think it's going to continue because they're trying to acquire more content.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with what ABC is doing and a lot of the other
CBS,
places,
all of the ones.
yeah, what they're realizing is that they own a lot of the shit that Netflix is putting on, and they're coming up with their own apps.
Yeah.
They need to launch their own apps, so they're
Right.
taking the rights for all their stuff. And now it's like the whole technology thing where everyone is just grabbing all their copyright. This is our shit.
Yeah.
Netflix saw it coming. That's why they started creating
Started
their
creating
stuff.
their own stuff.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be like a quality thing with Netflix, because
Yes.
right now it's just thumbs up or thumbs down. Like, why did they take the star rating system away? That was great.
I hated that. I hate that they took that away. I love that because I used to be like, Schindler's List, 5 stars. Other stuff, not so many stars.
Yeah, I mean, you can still go on Metacritic or something like that, and I
Yeah.
think that I would rate this movie a 6.5 out
Really?
of 10. Yeah,
Bird
out of 10.
Box?
Yeah. What do you guys think? Overall rating, overall.
That sounds about fair.
Sounds about fair.
Because it wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's like
about
smack
Well,
dab in the middle. It's
slightly
yeah.
above average. I can go
For
with that.
me, a 6 range is approaching bad.
Oh no. If you go on a scale of 10, so you're looking at 1 being bad, 10 being good, 6 is above average.
No, 1 being unwatchable, terrible, worthless.
Oh, okay.
Bad being closer to
So
4 to
wh-
5.
Where would
Okay,
Bright-
so that's
where would
the
Bright
way
be?
you.
Well, there has to be a reason for all these numbers. So if we're going by 10, so if I go to 1, I'm not just going to say that's bad. I'm going to say that
I
that's.
couldn't even finish it, basically.
Sometimes I watch bad movies on purpose because you can learn shit from watching bad movies.
Learn
Yeah.
what not to do.
Huh?
Learn what not to do.
Learned what not to do. I learned plenty of things that I shouldn't do, or I just got reinforced on knowing things that I shouldn't do from watching this movie. So I mean, it's I felt the 6, and I went on Metacritic. They were basically the same place, like
Yeah.
about 6 out of 10. It's
Yeah, like I said,
that's- that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, at its worst, this movie is mediocre. At its best, it's it's something that you can pop in and watch and just
I think it's right above mediocre at best.
yeah,
Right above mediocre.
Exactly. Like well, you know, they were
It can reach over and touch mediocre if it wants to.
Exactly.
Oh my
and
goodness.
and some of it is really bad, and so it goes right into that mediocracy. But there's a couple of things that I'm just like, okay, I can see where they were going, and I think the idea is a great idea, and that's probably the only thing that in my mind really elevates it above that mediocre. You know, that's why I say at its worst.
And how much breathing space did we give this thing because it's Sandra Bullock in this movie? Because I give it a lot. I give it a lot.
America's. It's like she's like America's sweetheart. I mean,
I don't think
of course
so.
you do.
Sandy Bullock is America's sweetheart?
She was at one point.
She
Everybody
was at
like,
one
was like,
point. I mean,
Julia,
she's
what's her name?
yeah,
She
Julia
was at one point,
Roberts,
Julia
and then
Roberts.
she kind of,
Sandra
and then
Bullock was
and
for a
Sandra
moment.
Bullock came and said, "That's my lunch money." It's like, let me have that.
I mean, they're both really doing comebacks with Julia Roberts doing Homecoming and Sandra Bullock did Bird Box. You know, it's kind of like, okay, well, we still need to make some money in this career.
Point that. Sorry. It's missing
Well,
your-
you know,
Point it here. Point
Sandra
it.
Bullock is. I think Sandra Bullock has had an amazing career for what it is from
That's
the
true.
beginning. If you know, to what it is today.
No, you're in the.
I don't know if
You're blocking
anybody.
the camera.
Yeah, put that down. Sorry.
I remember she started off like just like some quirky comedic actress. You know, I remember. I think the first film I ever saw her in was Love Potion #9. So that kind of there right
gosh.
there, it tells you how
Oh,
old
you
I
tells
really
your
am.
yeah. You just told your
I don't
age.
think I've seen
Exactly.
that one.
Exactly.
All right.
But the one where I really paid attention to her was in Speed. When she came on Speed, I was like, whoa, like.
That's when everybody started.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I mean, I
pretty
knew
much.
about her. I had seen her career, like, you know, but that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is just her jumping off point. Like, this is gonna be where she's basically comes in the door. She's like, I own this, and nobody can stop me. And she continued to dabble in things that were, you know, serious. You know, Blindside. Everybody talks about her in Gravity,
movie.
but
Yeah.
then you
Kevin
see her in
Durant.
like Miss Congeniality, which she was funny.
I liked her in there.
And that's one of those movies that you see. That's a perfect movie to go on Netflix. It's the kind of movie like we said, it is rewatchable. You want to watch that again and again.
No, I don't.
Well, you're a guy, so you know I can't.
I have to agree with her. That's one of my rewatchable
You know, it's like,
ones
but there
too.
is, you know, like, and that's what I said, and that's what Netflix is good for. And I think that they should focus more on stuff like that.
You know, this reminds me of something you said earlier. I think it's not quite correct with as far as their viewership. It's huge. I think they have the biggest viewership.
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
of course they do.
Oh, they're above Hulu.
They're not
they're just blowing.
above
They're
Hulu.
blowing everybody out the
Yeah.
water
They're
right now.
way
Yeah.
way above.
Yeah.
They
Hulu's
said-
almost gone.
They set the curve. You know, it's
I
like
wouldn't say so.
when you come out.
Hulu's content was coming mostly from the broadcast networks, and they're taking all that shit away.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But Hulu is up there though, because Hulu is now starting to do their thing. Everybody's catching wind of let's do what
our
we
own
have
shows.
to do. Yeah.
They're
I kinda feel like
basically
Hulu got in the door really late. Like they should have been doing
no.
this
should've-
content, like,
They were
way
in
earlier.
there early. They're
Hang on.
cable.
Oh, there we go. We're
Oh.
back. Everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I was saying, you know, Hulu came in, and I think their business model was, you don't have cable, you don't have a television. It's okay. We all like to watch things on our phones. Here it is, last week's show on your phone, and you can watch it at your own
That's
discretion.
true.
No, but what Hulu show have they done? Like what's a
Oh,
good
you're
one?
talking about their
Oh, their own
original
personal
content.
show. Oh, I don't know of anything
They-
personal that they
That's
have
what I'm
done.
talking about.
Yeah, that they are definitely not there at all.
They're gonna
yeah.
lose the game because of that.
Yes, they probably will.
They're gonna
Unfortunately,
they're gonna get bought.
eliminate it. Yeah.
They'll see that other people are doing it. I mean, it hasn't
They'll
left them a
eventually
name.
jump.
They'll start doing it,
They
but
can't
Netflix
eventually.
is still
They
setting
should
the
have been on
curve
that
for that.
10 years ago.
So should Netflix, but they just started doing it.
Yeah,
And
no.
because it's a
No, Netflix
name.
had been doing it for a
For
long time.
original stuff, I
Yeah.
really don't watch it that much. I
House
watch
of
like
Cards. Oh, the first one was
Gotham.
Lilyhammer. Lilyhammer with Sopranos alumni. I can't remember his name right now, but
in front of a computer.
yeah, exactly. But it's okay. But it's Lilyhammer. I mean, you don't really need to know the guy's name who started it. It's Lilyhammer. If you remember going back and watching it, I mean, if you remember when you first had Netflix, that was like the first original show that they ever had out. It was Lilyhammer.
When did they start doing comedy specials? Because they've been
They've been
For
at
the
the
past-
place to
forefront.
be right now.
5 years or so, they've been
At
doing
least,
comedy
right?
specials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
least.
where they're pulling in the big name people. They were
Yeah.
doing comedy specials, but it was not with big name individuals.
They were basically just rerunning things
Yeah.
from like HBO and things.
Yeah, but
things-
now they're starting to pull in the big name people and
Yeah.
have them do their own,
All
like
the
Dave
comedy
Chappelle's
on
and
Netflix.
Kevin Hart, that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So that's also original content, which I don't.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I don't really know if Hulu. I don't even have Hulu.
I'm telling you, Hulu.
I have
is-
Hulu, and I
don't know
watch
anyone who watches
You watch a
Hulu.
lot?
I do.
My sister watches a lot.
I
She
watch
has
I don't know
Hulu.
anyone who watches Hulu.
You
right
just said, I just told you I do.
Okay,
I
I know
watch
one
Hulu
person who watches
and
Hulu.
Netflix.
One person.
Yeah, I watch Hulu, and I've had, you know what? I actually had Hulu longer than I had Netflix. Netflix is new to me because Hulu had where you can pay the $7.99 a month and get see everything you wanted to see, and then they started doing a bunch of crap, and I said, okay, let me bring in Netflix because some of the shows that I wanted to see was not on Hulu, and that's why I got Netflix. And also when they started doing the comedy specials on Netflix, and they started to bring those people, I said, hey, let me go on and purchase Netflix. So that's why I have it. So I actually had Hulu a long time. And still love Hulu. Matter of fact, that's my main watch. When I have something to watch that I want to see that I know is not on Hulu, then I go over to my Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do too.
But Netflix does go ahead and reach out to you when they have their original content. You can only find it on Netflix. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which is
I give to Hulu
Yeah.
about 2 years.
we'll see.
I give them 2 at max.
We'll
Okay.
see. I don't really know their business model all the way through and
Hulu
what their
originals.
thing is, but
They have The Handmaid's Tale,
The Handmaid's
Future Man,
Tale.
Runaways, which I didn't know that was original film. Castle Rock, Light as a Feather. They do have a couple.
They have a
Yeah,
couple,
they have a couple. If it's anything, I see Netflix buying them out, but I wouldn't want that because I don't want anybody to have the monopoly because that's where we enter into problems once it's a monopoly. So I hope they don't sell to Netflix.
I agree with that. The only issue I have with that is if they sell, it's them selling. Nobody's forcing them to sell. And if
Yeah.
they have to sell, it's their own fault. They
But it-
weren't competitive in the space that they need to be competitive in, which was
No,
Yeah.
original content.
Disney's taking over Hulu. That's why they put a lot of their shows like Loki.
Shit.
Oh, that's a good one
forget
if
it.
Disney
Forget
takes
it then.
them
If
over.
Disney-
Okay,
There you
well,
go.
they already
Yeah.
bought then.
Yeah.
Is that official?
Yeah.
Yeah, they ain't going nowhere. It's
Oh,
Disney.
no, that's it,
Marvel's
yeah.
already putting shows on there.
They're not going
or
anywhere.
setting up for shows on there.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Why are they doing it? Oh, okay.
No.
Because Disney is so much of a brand.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
it's
So-
because
Disney
Disney's
doesn't
a brand,
fail.
but just like everybody else, like CBS and everybody else, they're saying, hold up, we're giving Netflix our money. This is stuff we could be doing. That's why like CBS All Access or whatever, they're doing their original shows and everybody else. So they're like, okay, well, if we're going to give you money, how about we just take our own properties back and put it on Hulu that we own now?
Yeah.
And we can make
Yeah.
that viable for us.
Yeah.
So Disney's going to have its own streaming line.
So
So it's
that-
also going to
yeah.
have Hulu and all that stuff
So
too.
Hulu
work
decided
with.
to just get in bed with Disney. There you go. That makes sense.
There you go. Hulu is going to be around.
It's gonna be around
It's
for a
going to
while
be
then.
changed probably to
As soon
Disney.
as soon as you hear the Disney, you're like,
technically around.
nope, they're still around, people. They're
Look,
still around.
Disney owns that shit. It's not Hulu anymore.
Yeah, it's
Hulu,
Disney.
It's Disney's brand extension, and they call it Hulu. It's
Yeah,
no
exactly.
longer Hulu.
It's
Hulu's
eventually it's gonna be
I'm
like
saying
Disney
Marvel
something.
is still no. Disney is going to do its own streaming service too. It's going to
Yeah.
be 2 platforms.
Yeah.
They already have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Huh?
They already have it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
I didn't know
have
it was out already. I don't really watch Disney like
But
that.
that's the thing that confused me because I knew they were going to do their own streaming thing.
Uh-huh.
But if this turns out to be that and not just a brand extension, then that's different.
Well, see, I think
Well-
what they're doing is saying, okay, Disney is known for PG-13.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll give you that on our
That's
platform.
what I was saying.
But those more kind of risque type of things where we're not sure where you might like it.
Yeah,
put those on Hulu.
Disney owns a lot of things that I think a lot of companies own a lot of things that people don't know they own, and they usually do it for that reason that you were saying about like Disney is known for PG family
To gotta
friendly
protect their
stuff.
brand.
So they do have a grown up line basically is what I guess for lack of a better term that's what it is.
So that's what they're
And they've
using
always
Hulu
had
for?
it. Yeah, they've always had a
Okay.
studio that it works under Disney owns it, but it works under its own name and its own titles, and they're not Disney stuff, but you will see these things and you probably won't know they're Disney, and they're huge a lot of times, and you don't even know they're Disney. They've always had it.
I can believe that, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like Black Panther and that stuff. Disney's involved with that. So, and
Well,
that's,
it's because they're
yeah.
on Marvel now.
Yes,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's a whole brand in the market that they're doing.
But
yeah, so.
even those films are not. They're still known as things you can take your family to. Superheroes. The one I know for a fact I can remember specifically because I was listening to something about it, and it was just, I don't know why I caught it. I caught like the tail end of it, I think, and I'm thinking about it because in this movie, Bird Box, John Malkovich is in it, and in that same film, John Malkovich is in that film, and that is that film Con Air. Con Air is actually made under that Disney studio that you didn't know.
Really?
So John Malkovich, we all know him as this actor who does not do PG-13 films. He does, R films basically, and
Does them now.
well, I guess now, yeah. Well, he's getting older. I guess he has grandkids, and he wants to make sure he can take the grandkids to something. I don't know if he has grandkids, people. I'm just saying.
He probably does.
Yeah, he probably does. I mean, yeah, but John Malkovich, even in this film, in the Bird Box film, I mean, he is probably the most. I think he's the one character that whoever wrote the script does not want you to like him,
And
basically.
his character's name is, for the record.
Oh, God, let me look it up. I can't remember his name in this
Oh,
thing.
I went to a different thing.
Yeah.
Mine too. It was he was the guy, the bald guy.
Yeah, I mean, you should know. He was like the Archie Bunker of the film.
Yes.
Archie Bunker is a nice way to put
That's a
it.
good way to put it. That's a good one.
Was it Douglas? Douglas?
I can't remember.
I'll
Hold
pull
on,
it
I
up
would
now.
have to.
I am talking about the right person, right? I don't want to sound like
Yeah, it was Douglas.
Yeah, he's-
Douglas.
Okay, it's Douglas.
Yeah,
Okay.
that what it is? Okay, there you go. I'm over
So
here looking at Sarah Paulson.
so overall for Bird Box, my main issue was about it being this slow build up. And then all centering around these creatures, right?
Yeah.
And I let things slide, like the weak intro, like the whole scene with Sandra Bullock and her sister talking, stuff with exposition.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, it's just going to be about the disaster. So, and then the weird ass reaction to, like, oh, there's a whole bunch of people killing themselves in Russia. She turns off the TV and goes, oh, it's just happening in Russia.
Let me tell you something. That's me. I don't
It's a
find out.
crowd.
I don't find out things happen until after they happen. Sometimes.
But when you
That's me.
do you just switch the TV off and just go, oh, there's crowds, hundreds of thousands of people killing themselves in Russia. I'm just going to go about my day.
Oh,
That was weird
okay.
as fuck.
Okay, the
People
government
actually
shutdown happened. Just like it's still going on. I'm sorry, it's still going on. Yes, and I can't believe we're paying these people. It's still going on. I had no idea what was going on. My sister told me. First thing I did was like, oh, another one of those. And then I went back to my life. And then I went to the post office and I said, hey, is this going to get delivered on time? Because I really need to get this package somewhere. But I know the U.S. Post Office technically works with the U.S. government. So are you guys going to be affected? That's what most people do right there. They go out, whatever affects me personally on my level, that's what you care about. You
that
don't really
would
care.
affect you personally on your level, though. So
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't care about the stupid
thing
shutdown,
is-
just like she doesn't care about it.
But I just didn't feel realistic because she seemed to acknowledge that, hey, this might be like a pandemic or a virus and it's like doomsday, Resident Evil type shit. She acknowledged that and immediately turned off the TV. Not only that, so that means
She
it
had
can
better
affect,
things to do.
well, that can affect her personal life. But then the other thing is, people dying, don't care. Russia.
But they talk about it right in the next couple of scenes, in the next couple of minutes. She goes to the doctor, and what does she say? Or what does the sister say? Oh, she believes that if she just ignores it, it'll just go away. So it's, I guess it's part of her character.
But they stuff that in the dialogue in ways
Oh, of
it's
course.
just like, well, you just found this out about your sister, who you've known all
No,
your
no, no, no.
life.
She knew. She was just relaying this to the doctor.
Well, they also said it to her. She also said it to her in the beginning scene. She said to her,
She also doesn't have food in her refrigerator. I don't know what the heck she's doing.
the whole art setup thing where she's painting, she's like, oh, these people are lonely. Oh, it's just
Yeah.
about people having trouble connecting.
And
And,
it's-
then she turns around to her and goes, don't worry, that won't be you. You won't have trouble connecting. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so obvious.
And it's almost like
It was
this
slightly
is the plot of the
cheesy,
movie
but-
right here.
It was slightly cheesy, but they were trying to say,
It was completely
they're just trying to give you a quick way to say, here's who this character is, and we want you to be vested in her. So that by the time you get to the end of the film, you're like, oh, I really want her to succeed now.
That
You know,
was
I-
totally
but they were
ineffective.
trying to
No,
say-
I didn't
yeah.
care. I didn't
I
care.
didn't say
I
it
didn't
worked.
care
I'm
whether
just
she
saying
get
that's what
there
they
or
were
not.
trying to do.
I know, but it's like, it was so obviously, I feel like they even know that was just
Kind of
Yeah,
manufactured.
kinda
to get that
cheesy.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all it was. Obviously, I think anyone who doesn't even have storytelling knowledge, it was just a plot device. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And it was.
The only reason I didn't like turn the movie off
Off
right,
right there and then?
is just because number one, it's Sandra Bullock. I'm gonna give her about 15 minutes to get going. Number two,
She gets a little bit of your lunch money.
and number two, it's a pandemic movie, so it's like it's about the disaster. That's all.
It is.
That's the reason we're watching this anyway.
Exactly. It's to see how we all end up.
They just want to get to that part, so it's like, okay, we'll let that slide. Same thing happening in the hospital. Okay, I'll let that slide too. Girl starts banging her head against the glass wall on her way out. All right, now we're getting into it.
Yeah.
How long did they take before they got to action?
Oh, like 15
they got it pretty quick.
minutes
I guess for us, in
at
case you
most.
ever watch this, spoiler alert, like the whole podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you came on the wrong podcast.
Podcast not knowing about this
No
movie.
spoiler
But it's
alerts.
okay because she likes Hulu better.
No, I'm not one of those people that you can give spoiler alerts. I'm truly one of those people that I ask you, so what happened in the movie? So
And then
who
you-
died?
and then you
I
go
go
watch
see
it.
it. And then I know what's happening already, but I
I'm like
enjoy
that.
that.
But not everybody is, so that's cool
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Like I get it because I'm like that too. Sometimes I'm like I want to watch this film, but I'm just not too sure of it. So then I'll listen to like a review. I'll watch a review of it, and I'm like, it's something that I could get into. Or nope, I'm staying away from that. It just depends on who's giving the review and what the review is.
Yeah, well, according to my daughter's review, that's why I didn't go see the movie. She's like, "Oh, Mom, you're not gonna like it." It's,
When kids tell
So-
you a movie sucks, that movie probably sucks.
well, she's actually 30. She's not a kid, but
Well, anyone younger people are usually,
yeah. And
that's the reason that they can get away with a lot of these poor storytelling choices because they think that the attention span of young people, the culture of young people, they don't really care about it. I think they do, but
Not to the same degree, though. I mean, like a lot of the older stories and stuff, they would stretch it out and build a story, which I think, like we were talking about M. Night Shyamalan or whatever, how you say his name, before. That was his thing when he started out. You build a story, you build everything around it, and then you kind of give it away. Christopher Nolan tried to do the same thing. I don't think it was as successful as everybody thinks, but he tried to do the same thing. But a lot of people, if they can't get excited or see some action the first, say, 30 minutes at the most, they're like, I'm
They're
good.
out. Yeah.
Well, that's me. I don't waste my time. Get to whatever you want to tell me. I don't care how you have to stretch it out, do it, but don't waste my time building. And that scenario that you're talking about, those are the things I didn't like about some of the older movies. Building up, get to the point. Is she going to die? What's happening? Are they having an affair? What's happening? I want to know.
And I like the slow
So-
burn. I love a slow burn, especially
it's
if it's
done
done by
correctly.
great actors and great directors. I mean, if it's beautifully made, I don't care. It could go on for, hours, and I'll be like, oh, that was so beautiful.
How would you rate Training Day based on that?
Training Day with Denzel Washington and
Was it Ethan Hawke? Yeah,
Ethan.
yeah.
Here's something Ethan Hawke, who I'm sorry does not get enough love. I love Ethan. I love all his films. I do. I'm like, I know he was like a douchebag in the '90s, but come on. I love his films. I do. I don't think he gets enough credit for all the.
But what I was saying,
for the
what
great
would you-
roles.
What would you rate that movie based on what you just said?
It's a slow burn movie. I actually thought it was pretty good. I thought it was good to see somebody like Denzel Washington play against a character at that point in his career. I think he was always like the benevolent, man, from what I remember. He was always like very benevolent character. And it's funny that we should talk about, Denzel Washington because Trevante Rhodes, who played Tom in the film here, he was also, the male black lead, and he was also playing against what people would say a stereotypical, black man role in a film.
Oh no, I was talking about us talking about movies building up and then going to the plot scene of what it is. What would you say about Training Day based on what you just
felt
said?
like it was done well, June? Did
Yeah,
you feel like it was
I-
done well?
I thought that was done well.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was done well.
Yeah, it was good. So it's like it's not that people say this about like talking head scenes, air quotes for people who are just listening. It's not that it's a talking head scene, so it sucks. It's just that some people just don't know how to write them or
Yeah.
shoot them. So,
Because there's beautiful scenes where it's just people talking
but
to
they
each other.
recognize that you have to have it. It serves a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
action movies, you can't just start in an action. You can't just have stuff blowing up. You gotta tell a story. So,
Yeah.
Are you talking about Michael Bay? I mean, really? Are you
Oh, Michael Bay. Oh,
Even
man.
Michael Bay tells the story.
Oh,
He tells a
gosh.
decent story.
Not all.
I love Michael Bay.
story.
Don't say that.
No,
He
I
just
like,
does-
I like the action. Michael Bay does well what he does.
He's
but I
the
don't
man
go
who
to him
made
for the
Bad
story.
Boys.
Bad Boys. That's why I
That's
said
why she's.
that.
That's why she's
love
like, I
Michael
love
Bay.
him. I love
What?
him.
That's why
means
she's
you're
like, I love
biased.
Michael
Bad
Bay.
Boys, Transformers, and he did one of the Charlie's Angels. I think the last one he did Charlie's
He did
Angels.
Charlie's Angels?
Yeah, he
No.
did one of them.
No, he probably produced it. His company probably produced it.
He probably
would never
produced it.
do- he
Look,
never
all I
do
know
a
is I saw his
third.
name across the board. I was like, "Ooh, Michael Bay." That's all I know. That man, I love everything he does. Hey, don't say
We
anything
know what
about
to,
him.
we know what to get her for Christmas, you guys. Next Christmas, I know what to get her.
June,
Yes, sir.
he made warehouses blow up for no reason.
And you know, it's like there is
I'm
there
just saying.
there is
Okay.
something about, in particularly early Michael Bay stuff. Like, and I'm talking about basically the Bad Boys and you know, some of these films that are really early on in his career. They actually, before he got the budget to do all the explosions, they're even honestly, if you ever go back and actually watch the commercials that he shot and the music videos that he shot, I mean, you could tell the man was, you know, very good at what he did.
Very talented. Very talented.
You know, but I think as he got more and more money, he became, well, I can just do all of this, I can do all of that. So it just became one of those things, well, I can shoot it, so I'm gonna do it. Which is, and going back to this
Nothing
film,
wrong with that.
well, there isn't anything
likes
wrong.
explosions.
There isn't anything wrong with that,
He
but
likes
you
killing
know, it's
people
like,
for no reason.
but there exactly, but there is, you know, when you have
still
no
wanna be in the
limits,
next
when you
Bad
have
Boys.
no limits and nobody can tell you no, you know, you tend to get a little, you know, bit of a big head, and then sometimes you don't know when enough is enough. And that's one of the things that I actually like about Netflix, where the budgets are lower, so there is more room for creativity in the sense of, how am I going to shoot this? How am I going to get around this program?
A little bit ridiculous, to be honest. They're pretty high.
No. Well, they are high, but where does that money actually go? Like, even in this film, let's be honest.
I don't think they know it.
Like, even in this film, let's be honest.
I don't think they know it. I don't think they care. They got a lot.
Well,
of
no,
fucking
they
money.
do. They do. No, but let's be honest. This movie, I mean, Sandra Bullock is not going to cost you. It's not going to cost. I'm pretty sure Sandra Bullock
She costs a pretty
and
penny. Don't talk bad about
maybe
Sandra
John
Bullock.
Malkovich are probably the two highest paid stars in this film.
I agree.
Everybody else is just a who's who, you know, of character actors or up and comers or people who've had their career or people who are just starting off their careers. They're not. Those people are not getting that much money. The people who are getting that much, who are getting all the money, is really Sandra Bullock, probably followed by John Malkovich, just because of what he brings to the table.
I want to disagree with you, but I think you're right.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, the house that they shot in was a beautiful house. You know,
Beautiful cast.
beautiful house. I mean, that is, I heard. I don't know if it's true or not true, but I heard that that's where Charles Manson used to live, or he had his family. Yeah.
Who?
And it's a
I don't
beautiful.
know if the house was exceptionally beautiful,
No,
but it was a nice house.
it was beautiful.
It was a nice house.
It's a beautiful house.
It's a nice house.
It's a beautiful house.
I wasn't sitting there watching the movie going, "Wow, that's a really,
nice
really
kitchen.
house."
Okay, I have to
looks like
see
a
the
modern-
movie now because I have to see
just
what
looks like
everybody
It is
a
a
modern
beautiful house. It's a beautiful craftsman's house. It
Okay.
has a lot of beautiful historic details. And the
Okay.
kitchen, you know, Americans, the world over think that all Americans have like these big islands in our kitchens, which I'm like, that's not true. And every show has like this big island where we all congregate around in all our shows, American shows. But that's not really how Americans really live, unless you're in that top tier percent. But you know, it was a beautiful house. It's a beautiful set, but it is just that set. And then the other set was the river. And I'm wondering how much of that stuff is CGI.
Good question. Probably.
And then
good
you
percentage
have,
of
and
it.
then you have the forest, which is that's probably Canada, which is not that it's cheap to
Well, who
film
cares?
in,
Who
but
cares?
it's still,
No,
you
No, but
know.
you can't really tell the
Or
difference
was it
between the
California?
river.
California?
It's all California.
Oh, look, it's even cheaper because
Yeah.
you're doing it all in-house, basically. You're not
Well,
having
who
to
cares?
travel anywhere.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
but
matter
it's,
where
you know,
it was
but
shot, though.
like I said, I mean, you know, the majority of the budget is going probably to Sandra Bullock. I'm just saying. So you think they have they have huge production costs, but where did it all go?
Did anything blow up in the movie?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna like that part.
It's not a Michael Bay film.
It's not a Michael Bay film, so you're not gonna have
Yeah.
buildings that blow up just because somebody bumped into it. or
Listen,
whatever, but-
listen.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about being gross and people who go overboard, the movie Django. Who directed that? Remind me.
Tarantino.
Thank you.
It's
That's
a
the
Tarantino
worst.
film. Say
But-
no more. Don't you go down that road.
Oh wait, whoa.
You talk about people.
Don't
I
do
mean, you
this.
just stabbed the man and blood spew all over the wall and.
If it's
Hey,
a Tarantino
hey.
movie, you know what you get yourself into.
Yeah,
Look.
I think somebody's gonna come to blows here. I think this is gonna be like, whoa.
But let's talk about Bird Box real quick, because so I feel like the letdown was the build-up with no payoff.
Yeah,
They did all this building up, made all this hoopla about these invisible creatures that were killing people,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the Blair Witch Project. You didn't see one witch.
Oh yeah.
no, but I don't have a problem with that.
No.
Okay.
I love the Blair Witch Project. I feel like. The hell was that? Oh, okay.
Could you tell me how to get from the phone to Sesame Street?
So anyways, so I feel like that was one of the shortcomings, because in the Blair Witch Project there was mystery, and so you have that option, and people aren't really going to be angry about it, but that's a different conversation. Here you have the idea of these monsters, which you feel like we're supposed to encounter at some point. We're supposed to see them, supposed to be confronted with them, and it's like you already had the foreshadowing with the there was a drawing of the monster.
Yeah,
that
and
the
there was
guy
the
brought.
shadows
Charcoal
throughout the
pictures,
film,
yeah.
the shadows and the movements.
shadows,
Yes, the
movements.
shadows were the ones things I was like, okay,
All right, and then you heard the voices,
yeah.
but that's
And
the
you have something
extent.
as your mask because the leaves are blowing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the extent of it, though.
Yeah, and
That
I
was
think
a fucking letdown.
and I think with and you see, and the thing is that it's not even like you're like with better actors, because Sandra Bullock is a good actress. With better production, I didn't think the production was great, but I also didn't think it was bad. To be honest with you, it kind of looked like a sitcom. It just lighting was just, especially indoors.
Yeah.
Lighting was very beautiful.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
but
it wasn't
was,
like The Walking Dead where they went with a thematic just showing decay of everything.
Yeah.
And the greens were off, the grays were off.
Yeah,
Everything
exactly.
was just supposed to be a little
It
bit
is
depressed.
exactly the lighting is exactly where it is, the colors are exactly where I think they
Even
need to be.
years later, that's the part that didn't make sense to me. Everything looked
Still looked exactly the same. Like the
you know.
red barn, I was like, oh, that's pretty red.
But that's a storytelling flaw right there, though. It's like, okay, if you're setting this 5 years later, there should be something more.
Yeah.
Because people aren't out there repainting the barn and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, and the
Yeah.
weather and things like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
That's
only,
just-
the
that's just
only
little
thing that was
nitpicks.
worn was like the dead people.
yeah.
They were a little bit decayed. So other than that,
And we don't really know, and that's another thing in the movie. It doesn't really, at the very beginning, it doesn't really show you. It just says 5 years later, but it doesn't. Before that, it doesn't show you where any of that stuff is in the timeline. It just kind of.
yeah, that annoyed me too.
Yeah, I was just like,
Going
so
back
how
and forth.
long has
Yeah.
it been since this and that? But we know we're in the future because it says 5 years later. So, okay, this is Sandra trying to get down the river, and then all the stuff that they keep flashing back to. There's really no, even the stuff when they were in the house. You don't have no idea how much time has gone by.
You
It's
know,
just kind of like there.
the issue with that switching back and forth, the flashbacks and everything is usually, if I were gonna do it, it would affect the timeline that I'm on right now somehow.
Yeah, it's just
the
like
birds,
memories.
You figured out the birds in the past without having to see how they're even useful in the main
present,
timeline.
yeah.
It didn't affect anything. So
Yeah,
it's like you
'cause
were
they
just
didn't do
switching.
anything right
So
there
it's
and
like,
then.
why do we need to do this? Is what I would have brought that up in the meeting, and then you would have saw like it really doesn't serve any
Purpose.
storytelling
Yeah.
device or purpose. But
It was supposed to be their warning. It could have been done better, though. Like, they had to recapture birds or get new birds, something like that. But that's when they were in the supermarket. That's where they're like,
good point.
yeah.
Are those the same fucking birds?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They should have been dead.
Exactly.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
Even in the
They
supermarket,
should have
like,
showed them catching
and
new
that's what
birds
I'm
or something
saying.
like
Like,
that.
okay, how long has it been? How long has it been? Because these birds are in the supermarket, nobody's feeding them, nobody's watering them. How long has it been since they ran out of, like, what did they only have food for like 3 days? And
It's the
decided to
same
go
three
out?
birds. I
Yeah.
recognized was like she still has 3 birds.
Yeah, and birds live for a long time, people. It's not like they they do.
Those were lorikeets, right?
Yeah, they don't live that long, but they still live. Birds have just
I
like
gotta look
dogs,
that
you
up
know.
and see.
So out of the 3 birds, not one of them dies. They never catch
Yeah,
one.
they
guess
didn't get
not.
bird flu.
And they were finding bird food with their eyes covered. You know?
Oh, so the bird's eyes were covered too?
No.
No.
Oh.
The bird, like they say, animals can sense evil or presences and stuff. So
Right.
they had the birds that mechanism where they could sense when the creatures were coming.
And so they were the ones my daughter said that's telling people, be aware.
They
that
were
these
used
creatures are
as a
coming.
way to know when those creatures were
Were around.
around.
So you know to close your eyes then.
Even though
No, you couldn't open your eyes at all because they could basically sneak up on you at any time.
Well, you
so
don't
you
want-
had to keep the
you
only
don't
time
want
it
to
was
take a chance
anytime
on it.
you're outside, you have to keep your eyes closed.
here's
and
another thing.
bandaged.
At what point did they name this movie Bird Box? Because the birds were fucking useless. The birds, you could hear
Well,
the fucking you
it's
can
a
hear
book.
the creatures.
It's in the book. I think probably I haven't read the book, but I imagine that in
Oh,
the
it's
book.
based off a book.
Yeah.
But you can hear the creatures.
Whoa! It's based off.
I didn't know it was. But
What is that reading? What is that?
well, it's just like it explains some things, but it's like you can hear the creatures coming. You can see the leaves circulating.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the
and
leaves, yeah.
whatnot.
I don't know if you can really
Which I
hear
thought
them
that was
outside of
actually a
them
nice.
talking to you.
I thought that was a nice effect. Actually, the leaf thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
Well, if it's invisible, how else are you gonna
Yeah.
give a viewer the idea
Well,
that there's something
supposedly
there?
there was supposed to be a visual thing that went along with
I was
them.
talking to
but
him about that
they,
earlier, actually. It
They
was a
decided
scene
that
that
it
they-
just didn't work, and
Well,
that's where a lot of
Sandra Bullock
the
laughed at it.
Yeah.
Apparently, what I read. They,
And so she didn't want.
Wait. For people who don't know what we're talking about, what was it for as far as a visual? Do you mean showing the monster itself?
Yeah, showing the monster.
Okay, I'm talking about something different. I'm only saying like before the birds, they wouldn't have had a way to show you that they were around. Because remember when the girl's sister died in the car?
Yeah.
She's like, what is this?
What is that? Yeah.
yeah.
And
you're
then
right,
it's
yeah.
like, well, there's something invisible that nobody can see
But you.
but you. But when they're driving to the store, they shouldn't have heard or seen anything either. All of a sudden, it has sounds. Now it's leaves. Now it's like interacting with the car.
Well,
Well,
no,
it's
no,
the
'cause
light, the
they're-
shadows that come over the car is the biggest problem on that one. Like, okay, these are invisible creatures, but now
They have
basically-
shadows.
You see darkness coming over the car and everything, and it's showing different angles. So it shows, like I said, the mass that move the leaves is there. But it's like, okay, if they're all around you, then what?
And apparently, your car sensors can feel them.
So did they ever publish like what the monster was supposed to look like?
Yeah, I think
Well,
it
they
looks like
said in
some
a
baby or
tweet,
something.
That's what I was telling you earlier. They said, I guess somebody tweeted about Sandra Bullock said on set that it's she was on an interview or something. She said it's like a disfigured or ugly baby head with like a serpent body or something.
She described it before the movie came out.
I'm guessing after. I didn't see the
After
interview.
probably.
Okay. Well, even
But
after?
then somebody made a custom toy of a disfigured baby head with like a little green snake body. But they said when she saw it on set, because they were going to put the scene in there, she saw it on set and laughed at it. They're like, yeah, this is not going to work. So they took that. They didn't do
Yeah.
that scene. I
I'm
don't
pretty
know if
sure they
shot it.
wasted money on that too.
That's fucked
That's
up.
Yeah.
probably also where some of the budget went, people. So that's where the budget
but
went
if
that we
that's
didn't
the
see.
reason you were going to use something and then suddenly like your star just laughed at it, it's like, well, you never really had much confidence.
You
in
didn't
it
have
in the beginning.
confidence for sure. You didn't have
No,
any
I mean
confidence.
there's been sometimes people plan things and everybody has a different idea of what's scary and what isn't, and there's a lot of times when you hear stories where they have planned certain things and then everybody gets on set and it just doesn't work, so they change it on the fly. It makes for a better film, and you have to adapt. That's
Well, I'm
what
fine with
filming
them
is
not
about.
showing the monster, but I'm like, tell me what it is.
Yeah.
If it's a demon, like they had
okay,
Rail's
yeah.
character. Oh, well, it could be this or it could be
Could be
this.
that,
And
yeah.
It's like, okay, well, let me know something. You didn't tell me anything about the monsters outside of it. They talk to you, and with I don't know if that's actually audible or they're talking to you mentally,
Yeah.
telepathically. It's like, give me something to work
Yeah.
with. What kind of
They,
creature
they
is this?
did. It was audible because remember? Well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't audible, but I do remember in that scene where Sandra
Because
Bullock
if it's audible,
is-
it's talking to each person individually, telling you, it's
yeah,
showing you
it's
and
showing
telling
you
you
exactly.
what
Yeah, which is what one of the things that they did mention in the film, that it shows. They think it shows you whatever your more
Your
biggest
deepest
fear,
your
fear,
deepest fear,
your
whatever
deepest
you
sadness.
think it's the.
Yeah, how
worst
many
thing.
of them are there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's your interaction like with the suicide people? It's like all these questions that they created, they didn't answer.
Yeah.
It was annoying. I hate when people do that.
Is it going to be a part 2?
But
No,
I
it's
hope
not
not.
always.
Well, it's
sometimes
it.
I feel like it's just sometimes. You know what filmmakers do? I'm a filmmaker, so I know this. Sometimes we fuck up, and then we act like that's what we meant to do.
Okay, to lead it up to a part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like here's
They said
an
that way
example
can open up
for
more, yes.
here's an example for people who are just listening to this. Imagine the difference between a standard definition camera and like a high resolution or like a high def or like a 4K camera. The difference in the resolution. I've got a camera that does all three. I forget to put it on the highest resolution and I actually put it on standard. I shoot the whole movie in standard. Fuck.
Can't
You know what I
repeat.
gonna do? I'm gonna style that bitch up. I'm gonna grain it up, make it look like it was shot on a video camera, and act like that's what I'm meant to do the whole time.
Yeah, it's like we came up with a better idea on set.
It's
Yeah, and that's what happens.
and then it's like I don't give any specific answers about it. Like, well,
Yeah.
why did you
But
feel
that's-
like the movie should be shot this way? Well, I just want to let people interpret it and make it whatever they feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
talk
It's
talk
a
a bunch
better
of
movie that
mumbo
way.
jumbo.
Yeah.
So now if we hear you say that, we know
Yeah.
what's really going on then.
It
Yeah.
absolutely, man. Most of the
Yeah.
time. I don't know anyone. I may know one person.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't feel like that's art. If somebody has to tell you what you made and why you made it, it's like you don't know why you made it. You just made something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel
Well,
like
yeah.
art is about communicating ideas. You want to communicate something. You want to express it in a creative way, and there's some kind of message. If there's no message, then I don't know how you
Then
call
what's
it.
the yeah.
But it just went deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could tell. We were
There's
all
some
like,
people
we were
out
all
there who will
reading
be
and
like,
you-
what the fuck does this guy know? He's not an artist. You don't know what art is. You can't define it. Blah, blah, blah. Hashtag vegan.
All
But
right.
he likes Sandra Bullock, so that redeems him in some way apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, going back to this film, it is one of those things where it's
Did you have a problem
All
with
the-
all these open questions at the end?
me. No, because I can.
You didn't have a problem sitting through all that?
No. You want to know why? Because, like in a roundabout way, I feel like it gives fodder to the YouTube crowd for people to come out and I think that's.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't go to the movie theaters to hear what other people say about the goddamn movie.
No. I'm not saying that, but I think it gives it a second life, in a way.
A potential to create more questions to not answer
Exactly.
in a
but I think
second movie.
at least I'm gonna say the only thing I can see and I actually don't mind when movies are open ended or when there's questions and they're not
I
answered.
mind very much.
I
You
do
mind.
too.
I don't
I hate
necessarily
that.
mind because then it gives it all leaves it all to the imagination. You can make it whatever.
Well,
it
I can
is.
fucking make my own movie too. I can draw
Yeah.
a picture and imagine that.
No, but there is good ways to do it and there's bad ways to do it.
You're supposed to be
Well,
good at it.
Everything these days is set up for franchises, but the thing
Yeah.
is, you want to kind of build an arc, and as you're closing one
Exactly.
storyline, you're opening up for something else.
Exactly.
This really
I-
didn't. The arc was okay. We made it. We got saved, but it's like okay, well, you left
What
all of
happens
these
next? Yeah.
questions.
Or how?
It's
yeah.
like the movie wasn't finished.
That's what it seemed like.
And it probably wasn't. They probably ran out of budget. Well, it's Netflix, so maybe not. But somebody got pissed off and
I
said,
guarantee
"I'm
you they didn't run
done."
out of money.
Yeah, no,
They'll
yeah,
probably
but
keep throwing more money at it if they had to.
yeah, somebody said, "End this crap
finish
at
it.
some point, and let's finish."
But you know something?
Sounds
It's fun.
like
It's funny that she would say like the movie seems unfinished. But I don't know if any of you noticed this, but it seemed like people were just dropping left and right. It's almost like, well, I got something else. I got something else I'm working on because there were some characters kind of just came in and out, and some of them kind of almost felt like they left abruptly.
Oh yeah, remember that couple?
Yeah.
They heard their kids on the phone and they left.
They just left
I thought that was realistic, but it was a
Stupid
little
at the
bit
same
curious.
time.
No, but there are a lot of
And-
fucking people
yeah.
in that house in the beginning. It's
Yeah.
like they gotta kill some of these people.
Exactly, and all of a sudden it seemed like there was a ton of people, and then all of a sudden they were all gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Kill the white people first. That's weird.
ooh,
It's a little
I
bit
think they
weird.
made it intentional. I think they wanted. I think no. Look,
Broke the
going.
trend.
Oh wait,
remember
but
how
not
I
for
remember?
not before the Asian dude.
Yeah, but remember, how I mentioned Tom Trevante Rhodes, how he's in all for all purposes he is the male lead basically in this film.
Yeah.
They kind of made him. I'm just like, did this movie take a page out of like Tyler Perry's like?
Well, he was the knight in
Handbag.
shining armor.
Yeah, and if you notice, like all Tyler Perry movies have these horrible women who, and I'm sitting there in the audience, I'm like, why would that guy want to be with her? She's horrible. But then she's like, eventually throughout the movie, she's like, he softens her up, and I'm like, okay, fine. If you're a great guy, why are you trying to go after this
Good
woman.
point.
Like, she was horrible.
She was a little bit
Are you
annoying.
talking about Why Did I Get Married?
I'm talking about all.
No, she's
No,
talking
not
about
all.
she's talking
No,
about
all
Sandra
of them
Bullock
are like that.
specifically.
Oh,
She
okay.
was saying
Yeah, all
like, it
Tyler
kinda
Perry movies
fits
have
her.
there are women. There's always a story in that where all women are like horrible, like they're all bitter for some reason.
Not all the women in his movies.
All of
Yeah, not all.
not all of them, but for the most part, there's not always a main character, but there's always a woman in that.
Antagonistic.
In that ensemble of characters.
Well, Medea is the
There's
one who
always
was
like-
always that one.
I want to be in Tyler Perry movies.
No. There's
She's a hero.
I mean, if you exactly.
She's always the bitter somebody. Don't get her mad. Don't angry black woman stereotype.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
plays that.
Yeah,
Most of
and
the other
all-
women don't.
But Ruth, are you saying like?
And I'm just
any-
wondering,
for
like,
the
did they
ant-
take
are you-
a page out of his book?
Are you saying like the antagonists usually turn out to be women in his films?
Not necessarily. They're just
Okay.
sometimes they're just. He tends to do a lot of movies with ensemble cast. There's always one story where one of those women happens to be this, and a lot of times it actually is the protagonist. That's her story arc. She is bitter and she's mad at the world, and then this handsome guy comes along and he's super nice, but he's not just quite as rich as the guy who just like stabbed you in the back and whatever, kicked you out of his house, whatever it is that Tyler Perry does and all his bag of tricks. And I feel like in this movie, Sandra Bullock was kind of like that too. And I'm like, did they like just went, hey, that sounds like a good idea. Let me use
I
that
don't
for
think
this
they
film.
necessarily took from him because it's a age old idea.
Standard, yeah.
As far
No,
as
but
like
I don't know. I mean, I don't. As a woman, I was like, whoa. It's like sometimes I look at these movies and I'm like, so in order for me to be a strong female, I also have to hate children and hate men.
pretty much. Look,
but that's what
there's
the
only
film,
two genders to pick on here. All right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I feel like this movie kind of made it like Sandra Bullock was honestly kind of unlikable. It was just like, well, at first she hates being pregnant and she hates her unborn child.
It's like they tried to make her unlikable.
Yeah, and then she
But it
was
was a little bit
super
weird.
mean to those kids. I'm like, those kids are so cute. Why
It
would
didn't
you
even
be
make
mean to
sense in the
them?
beginning.
Yeah.
It's like it made sense. So you know what part of the flashback made sense? The very, very beginning, because it's kind of setting up the story that you're about to see, where it's like, don't go on the water. If you have kids, you won't make it with kids.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you kind of
like,
like, what the
oh.
fuck are they talking about?
And
and they're
that-
showing the river.
yeah.
It's like that looks
And
like a
you-
regular river to me.
And she's gonna go on the river with the kids.
Cut to the part where she's standing there. She's like, "Don't ever, when we're out there, you be quiet. Don't say anything. If you hear something in the forest, I was like, what the fuck are they gonna hear in the forest?" It's like it was kind of interesting. And it's like you see she's talking to kids. It's like,
Oh, she's being real mean to them.
yeah, but then certain parts of her dialogue start to stand out. I don't want to nitpick, but they really
Yeah.
stress the word blindfold. It's like, never take off your blindfold.
Yeah, it's like
I
just
don't think
remember we're gonna have blindfolds on.
It's like, oh, well, here we go. I was like, all right, here come the plot devices.
Yeah.
And it just kept going, man. And the part that you bring up about her not being a likable character and his character being a good guy.
Super likable.
But being very attracted to her was like, what the fuck is he attracted to her for? It's
Right?
like, it does make sense what you're saying. But
And
then
I-
it's
and I
like,
feel
it
like
was
that's
obvious like they were
like-
trying to set that up.
And then he's first of all, he's hitting on a pregnant woman. Like, I'm just like, he just wants to get the instant family. Like, I've never seen some guy hit on a pregnant woman.
But-
Just
Oh, no, that's not true.
But on the other
I wanna have
hand,
that instant family right there. Oh my
But-
god, I can't wait to have that baby.
on the other hand, it's Sandra Bullock.
It is Sandra Bullock.
Okay,
I knew
Exactly.
it
So
always
she's
had
like,
every
so
time.
she's
I knew
just
you
kind of
were
like,
gonna say that.
she just has a certain likability.
Maybe he was
endowed.
like, even as a character, it's like,
He's like,
man,
but
this
it's
woman
Sandra
looks a
Bullock.
lot like Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, exactly. That's like what he was
Well,
saying.
also you got to remember he had the other pregnant woman. The cop ended up dating the messing with the one
Yeah,
dude.
the other one was ugly. Oh, I
You
mean, she was
How rude.
wearing
Not attractive.
makeup. She was wearing makeup, and I don't know why that made sense 15 days into the crisis.
Which one? The other pregnant woman?
And her
pregnant
makeup
woman.
was full and dressed and everything.
It was orange and green. It matched her hair. You remember?
Yeah, well, I remember
Was
in the
it that
movie they
bad?
said
So they were
that
all
she
mar-
was like
they
a
were all
pretty-
wearing makeup.
Well, of course they're wearing makeup.
But
It's like
It was
it's like
kinda noticeable.
But what are you saying? No, when you say they're wearing makeup, are you saying they're wearing makeup and they had no access to it, but they still had makeup?
I'm
That their
saying it-
makeup was untouched?
I'm saying
or
the makeup was noticeable, and there was no reason for the characters to have makeup.
To have makeup on.
And that's the problem. See, there you go, right there.
I'm trying to play the story.
We have no idea.
I'm trying to play it in my head because she
You
was
remember
home.
that?
She was
Yeah.
home by
Now
herself.
I've got to see this
She was
movie
home by
now.
She
herself.
came in disheveled. She was
But
crying.
her makeup was nice.
Came in.
But
Yeah.
her makeup was on point. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. If you're trying to run with your eyes closed and stuff, there might be branches and stuff.
And
so
you're
it's not
wrapping something around your eye. Your makeup is going
I
to be
mean,
messed up.
no, it wasn't like
Here's the
super
other
nice
thing.
makeup, and that's the thing. It's like there's no time. You don't have a sense of time, and that's what we had just talked
Hold
about.
on, plot hole. Didn't they tell her to put the fucking blindfold on when she was outside before they let her in?
They had
Yeah.
to put the cape or the jacket, whatever, up to block the light so you couldn't see in.
Oh,
Yeah.
but she was
She
was
was-
wearing one the whole time,
She
right?
should have when she got there. She
No,
could have
I
taken
don't
it
know,
off
It
when
maybe.
she came in.
sounded to me like they told her to put
Put
your
it on.
blindfold on, and then we'll let you in. Well, how the fuck is she
How did she
walking
get
around
there?
outside
Yeah.
if she doesn't have a
She
blindfold?
I
says
think-
that
I
she
don't
was
think they
3
showed
houses
it,
down
but I
or
think they
something, 4
told
houses
her.
down, something like that.
You know what would have been better? Instead of bringing that second guy in who was crazy, and they made that a rule in the story where the crazy people aren't affected.
Yeah.
They should have let her be the first crazy person. We would have had no reason to fucking question it.
And why were there 2 pregnant women
Well,
who happened to have a baby at the same time?
all right, you might be bringing up a really good question.
I'm just like,
Why were there 2 fucking pregnant women?
They should've
I was
used-
sitting here thinking, like, how the hell are they both going to labor in the
at
same?
the same exact time.
Because
It's like-
you
Same
have
day,
boy
same
and
hour.
girl.
Boy, girl, exactly. They gotta have boy, girl. They should have just gave something like 2 twins.
I like the fact that they didn't name the kids in the movie. I liked it. It reminded me of the McCarthy Cormick, The Road.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen The Road.
He didn't name the kid because it's like we're probably gonna die.
Exactly.
You
What's
know,
the
it's
point of
like,
naming you?
You're just boy.
Yeah.
Come here, boy.
Hey,
Come on, boy.
I have a
She's
dog.
like,
I have a
boy,
dog named
but
Dog.
she was mad as fuck all the time. Boy, girl, don't
Yeah.
say anything. She was like one of those.
What did I tell you, girl? Sit here.
Yeah,
Boy.
like,
I don't even necessarily dislike
no.
that. I think it was pretty consistent.
I mean, she was
The only-
trying to that's the thing. She was trying to be a survivalist, and she was trying to make them, strong.
Yeah.
And have
I
strong
think
character.
that's from the
And
sense of
I,
it,
and
yeah.
I get it, but it goes right back to that whole entire thing. So, as a woman, I can be strong, but then I have to let go of my loving side. So I can't be a full-fledged person because I believe I'm a strong woman. I've done things that I think a lot of people can't go through, without a lot of emotional support. I may not be like, oh my God, hugging on everybody. That's not my love language, as they say. But I do show emotion. There is people I love, there is people I like, and there's people I also dislike it. But yeah, I still consider myself a strong person. But it almost seems like in the media, it's like, if you want to be a strong woman, you can't love anybody. You have to repel everybody, and you have to be mean. And here goes back to the story. But here comes this guy, and now you love him, and now you can be.
I didn't
soft.
read the book,
I think
but
it's
I
several
don't.
purpose.
It's like it's just.
Turn that pointed at you. Sorry, I didn't read the book.
I don't know.
See, man, I can't
But
talk then.
I didn't think that they were trying to make a cultural statement. I just thought it was like, well, of course this doesn't make sense. You know what also doesn't make sense? Douglas seeing his daughter die outside and him not crying or really visibly
It
reacting
wasn't
to
his
it.
daughter. It was his wife.
That's
Or his wife.
His
Yeah.
third wife, by the way.
Even worse.
His third wife.
That's the one he loved.
That is the one he loved.
It sounds to me like the character needed to be strong simply because of the role that she had to play. If this woman
Yeah.
had to endure the things that she had to endure, it could not be a meek, mild-spoken,
No.
mild-mannered woman.
No,
But that
nobody's
woman is
asking her to be
capable of
that.
loving, too. That woman is capable of loving.
But they don't show that in the film. They almost show her as he's the whole entire film. He's the one that he's the loving one towards the children. She's just mean and cruel in a lot of ways to those children.
And again, it sounds as if she's being that in order to prep them for reality. They're living in a harsh world where something could come and take them away at any moment.
Oh, she was mean before that.
She was
Oh,
mean before
okay.
that. Yeah,
Well,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. She was just mean.
Oh, okay.
But it's
The whole
kind of-
entire time in the
It's kind of a
beginning.
blend of what you're saying, though, because when they basically introduce her, they say, "Oh, okay, well, it's not Ryan because she was in love with Ryan. Ryan said,
Yeah,
"Yeah, I'm out."
left her.
and now you're
he was
pregnant.
like a roommate.
You know, so
bye.
she shut herself off because she didn't want to deal with the
She was
reality.
emotionally shut off.
Exactly. So when it comes down to the kids and
That
everything
didn't even
else,
make sense though.
some people are like that. I mean, some people withdraw.
I
You know,
got it. It's just, you know what, they tried to do that and they didn't earn it at all. They just
Yeah,
said it.
they
And
just
it's
Oh no,
like,
they tried to force it. I'll give you that. Yeah, I agree with that. But that was supposed to be her whole thing. So she shut herself off because she didn't want to deal with the reality of I'm
Yeah, and she
pregnant with
hates
this
her
dude who
daddy.
doesn't love me anymore.
So
You know.
Sandra was pregnant in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's been pregnant from the beginning.
And
Yeah.
that would account for this woman, because if you guys are not aware, when a woman is pregnant, her hormones change. And for that
Which they-
particular reason,
Which they address in the film.
Oh,
and
okay.
They talk about horses, as if women were horses, like her hormone. Like they talk because her sister is a horse breeder. So they talk. I know.
okay, but
But do you-
that accounts for her being mean. And I can tell you, when I was having my first child,
Yeah.
I had such a mean streak to my brother, and afterwards I didn't know what happened. The whole mentality changed. It was my hormones.
No, but she was just a mean person.
because
I
she
don't
was
even-
pregnant.
No, to
No.
begin with.
They were
Okay.
So I think she's right in saying she was just kind of that attitude, but it's damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's almost like I had the perfect way to say this.
Oh,
And
darn
now
it.
you forgot it.
I didn't forget it. It's just I don't have the exact words I was
Words.
gonna say.
Well, while he's working on that, she was trying to teach him how to survive. So she was
Yeah.
being mean because,
Yeah.
basically
But she was being mean and taking like their dreams away.
But Tom was that was the balance. She was trying to
Yeah.
prepare them for
Right.
reality of
Sounds
you may
like it.
die and I may die.
Yeah.
Tom
Yeah.
was trying to say there's always going to be hope at the end. I have to
Well,
give you
yes,
something to
I
shoot for, which he
understand
says
that.
in there.
Well, listen-
Here we go. So
It's-
basically, she was mean, but they just wanted her to be mean. They didn't want to have to go through and explain why
Why,
she was mean
yeah.
or anything like. They did not
was
focus
just-
on her life at all.
She was just a mean person. Like,
It was good cop, bad cop. That's what it was.
But
No, she
I
was a
feel
mean
like they
person.
decided she was
I'm
going to
saying
be
he was
mean.
good cop and she was bad cop.
But it felt like they decided. All
and
right,
he was like this angel. Like he was walking kids in Afghanistan to school, and
Yeah.
and it's like it was just so.
But they were part of the thing that messed her up was it's like they wanted her to be mean, and they were like, you know what, Sandra plays a good, stern, hardcore female character. Let's bring her in for that. So they decided she's gonna be mean. All right, how do we make this make sense? All right, she had a boyfriend. She broke up with him. She's pregnant. She doesn't want to be
Of
pregnant.
course, she's mean.
They did that after the fact that they decided she was going to be mean, instead of this would be the cause for this person being mean.
Yeah.
So that's why it was such a throwaway.
Yeah, it was just
and as
like,
it was such weak motivation. It was like
Yeah.
nobody would stay mean for that long, and then
Yeah.
paint and have all that energy to do all that shit. And it's like, what the fuck? And then
And all her paintings were depressing. It's about people being lonely and not being able to
Because she was in
connect.
why
the-
didn't they
she was
just paint?
depressed.
This is why she's depressed, angry.
Yeah.
This is why she's because that's the only purpose that it served.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you remember you said you're supposed to attain that information based on how the person is acting. So from that standpoint, it sounds like she was doing her job. At the end of the rainbow, you saw this woman was mean because she had all these different problems, and she couldn't say it verbally, but she acted it out.
I'm not. It's not a criticism of her acting
No,
or
it's
her
not at
interpretation
all.
of the work.
It's
just
the actual
character had
character.
flaws.
No, that's what
Yeah.
I'm speaking of. The character flaws. She's doing what somebody paid her to do, basically.
Right.
So, so that whole thing I'm talking about, she's acting it out as according to what they tell her to do. That you guys should assess that because this boyfriend dumped her because she was pregnant. That's why she has this mean character. She shouldn't have to say it. They shouldn't have to say it in the movie. You should assess. Oh, that's why she's a bitch.
Well, that's why the sister was there to
Right.
kind of provide exposition.
So-
Yeah.
Show don't tell, but
Yeah.
they gave us so many things to try and figure. Like
They just make her unlikable, to be honest.
they
with
just
you.
did too much shit that they didn't earn. She picks up the shotgun, knows exactly how to cock it, and all that. It's like
She hates
we're not
her
supposed to go.
daddy.
I
Oh,
like
well,
that part.
was she in the fucking military or something like that?
She was in Girl Scouts.
This is- what the? No,
She was in the
fire
militia.
shotguns and like that in Girl
No,
Scouts.
she says she said she learned from her dad because of the farm.
Yeah, exactly. Because she,
Yeah,
and she hates her
okay.
daddy.
And that's more fake conversation. The only reason they put it in because they had the shotgun thing. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Just let the guy hold the shotgun. Develop her character the right
Well,
way.
well, how long is this movie going to be if you want to cut all that stuff out? Because that's what makes the movie.
No, that's not. No. You cut all that out so that you can put the stuff that should be in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be-
there's ways to get that character. The thing is that it's just
They just
find the
wanted Sandra
character.
Bullock to hold the shotgun.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's it.
true.
They wanted the photo op.
They paid her
Sandra
to hold a
Bullock-
damn shotgun.
It did
Sandra
not
Bullock
make
was the
sense.
executive producer.
And they
She
would've
paid
been-
herself to
and
hold the
then-
shotgun.
Well, it's like
And there's
it's
no-
like there's one shotgun in the house, guys. Well, all right, which character is going to get the
Hey,
hold
Sandra.
it? She sits up. She goes.
I got it.
Well, she's the lead. She has to hold the character. She has to hold the gun.
Executive producer.
So,
I'm gonna grab the shotgun.
She's like, I'm not just a star.
It's like,
I'm paying
all right,
for
well,
this.
look,
also-
the only fair way to do it is
I'm
whoever
also
picks
working
up the
security.
shotgun gets it.
Exactly.
So as the part comes up, it's like nobody goes for the shotgun. Sandra Bullock standing right there. She's gonna grab it.
yeah, that's it. Hey, she's the exec, and she is. Hey, I'm holding the shotgun if it's me.
Well, if that's the case, she's the wrong person for the part.
Really?
Yeah, she's wrong for this.
She didn't give a good shot. What was?
No.
What would you say?
It would have been a better movie if they got somebody else where they wouldn't have had to make so many
Concessions to what
yeah,
you want.
Yeah, if that's the case, I don't know that she's the reason, but it's there are things that storytelling wise you shouldn't have
I think there's a lot of things in
done.
this movie that make it mediocre. I don't think it's just the acting. To be honest with you, I think it's
No, that's a storytelling thing. It's
Yeah.
not exactly the acting. The acting was,
Yeah.
as far as the acting, it's pretty okay. It was
Yeah,
fine.
it was fine.
I had more of an issue with the logic. I had an issue with characters not reacting to their wives dying,
Yeah.
characters knowing how to fire shotguns.
I wonder if John Malkovich's character was supposed to be like a drunk or something, or like a holic, or a
How did
recovering
fuck did he get drunk in 3 minutes?
And they
He's-
did make
He's
No, it
he's
seems like he was-
literally drinking in the supermarket
Yeah.
for 3 minutes, and all of a sudden he's drunk.
Yeah. And
Motherfucker.
I'm just like, is he
You know,
a-
Show some
alcohol
time
really.
passing by.
No, alcohol literally can do that to you if you're not a drinker.
No,
He wasn't consuming it
if he
fast
was.
enough.
I
No, but he wasn't eating. He was
I
also
think he
wasn't
had
eating.
stopped drinking and not eating, but I think he had stopped drinking so much because remember he only had little bottles before that, so he had stopped drinking, so his body wasn't used to it. He's addicted to it. So soon as he
Yeah.
get that
He's
first
an
taste of it-
alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's,
Maybe
that was
that's
the
why
whole
he's
point.
mean. Maybe that's why he was. He
No,
was
what I'm-
also kind of unlikable.
I'm just saying that they didn't properly show the passage of time. It takes time to get drunk.
Yeah, and I think they had a problem
I'm
with
not
that
a
whole
drunk.
entire.
I don't have a problem.
No,
You
but I
sure?
think they had a
I don't
problem
have
with
any
with
problems.
everything. You know, it just kind of was. I almost felt like they were cramming too much story into trying to make it into a film where I think it should have probably worked better as a miniseries or as in like 4 or 5.
Oh,
you know.
don't go down that
No,
rabbit hole.
I think it would have worked better.
I think they're better off with this one piece of shit than 6 or 7.
No, but if they had 3 or 4 episodes of something, maybe they could have made it work better.
You know what? Maybe this would have been better as a TV show, but then
Yeah.
you still have the issue of,
Oh, did you go there?
It's a
Are you
miniseries,
taking it? You're taking it there.
you know what?
No, as a miniseries, maybe only because you have time to build things.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be
this is
okay.
only-
Which
this
would
is a
I think
2-hour
would
movie.
add.
I don't know
think
if I
would
like it as a
answer-
miniseries.
But I think it would
I wouldn't
answer.
do a whole
It would.
series
Then you
about
would
it.
have time to answer some of those things.
Sorry, we're getting ready
It's
to.
5:29.
Yeah, give it a second, and I'm gonna give the close out here. All right, closing remarks on the movie. Anyone have any final impressions on it?
I still stand by. It was okay.
I'll go see it.
I go to 6.5. or
We
7,
convinced her to
whatever.
skip.
Ken?
I go with a 6.5, 7 rating. Like I said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. My biggest issue is the payoff wasn't there at the end. It's like there could have been more there to at least tell me what these are, and that's my biggest issue.
Okay, so me, we were talking about it. I don't mind when things are not fully answered in something. I can use my imagination for that. I don't think I would ever watch this again, and I think it is right where it should be. And I think everybody is right. It's like somewhere smack in the middle. It's not something that I'm going to go back and rewatch. I think it belongs on Netflix.
I don't think Netflix should put their name on that, but it could be on Netflix.
because
Kinda
there's
late now.
there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that are on Netflix that I'm just like, why did this make it on here? Now that Netflix put their name on it, that's different. But I just think it's exactly where it belongs. I don't think it's
That's
for
fine.
what it is.
Yeah.
For what it
Okay.
is, it's just fine. It's just like
So from somebody who's just seen the memes,
So who hasn't even seen it yet? Are you more encouraged to watch it or less encouraged to watch it after listening
so
to us talk
I'm
about it?
thinking that some part in the psyche of people that have seen this movie, they relish it enough to think that it deserved to become a meme. So something is good that maybe you guys haven't seen, but the rest of America and these people who are creating memes of it think it's valuable enough to do that. So based on that, I haven't seen the movie, but and after having this conversation, I think I definitely will see it. And I probably will rate it a little high based on what I've heard, because I like what I've heard so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Cool. I just want to point
Different
out
voice
that
for
I do not
different
agree with that assessment. I don't think that when you see a meme, it's coming from a good movie or even a movie worth watching. I just think that's just something people like to do.
Yeah, it's just
And it might
in the
actually set off
populace.
alarm bells in my head when, okay, well, that's the coolest thing about this movie is the meme.
Yeah.
Remember Jurassic World?
I did not see that.
The Chris Pratt thing where everybody's like, anytime there's an animal in front, you stand in front and put your hands out like he did with the Velociraptor.
Oh,
Didn't
okay,
see
okay.
that.
Everybody
Didn't see that
started
movie
doing
either.
that.
Yeah, when he, well, you didn't see the movie.
But
Yeah, I have no
with
idea.
Jurassic
I
World,
also don't go on
we knew
social
it was
media.
going to be mediocre, but we're obligated because we're fans of the original movie.
Thank
so,
you.
know.
Don't say that. I
You know,
like
if there's a
Jurassic
Bad Boy 3
anything.
coming out, I'm going to watch it. Even if I know it's going to suck, I'm going to watch it. I'm
It just
obligated.
started
Yeah.
filming. It's coming.
I'll
out.
be there at
Coming up.
previews. I'm not even waiting for the movie to hit. I'm there at previews. So
Well,
I like teasers. I don't like trailers. I like the least information I get, great. Because some of the goddamn Netflix trailer was 3 minutes long.
oh, was it? I didn't.
oh,
watch that.
basically told you the movie.
3 minutes showing
Gave
you
it away.
every goddamn thing
For Bird Box?
for Bird Box.
Oh, I didn't see the trailer. Okay.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't see the
I
trailer.
didn't
I'll
see it
watch
either.
anymore.
After I saw it, I was like, I don't think I can watch another minute.
But
of this.
overall, it's barely worth a watch for me.
Right,
Bird
okay.
Box 6 to 6.5. I think it's well deserved. The only selling point of the movie they didn't actually pay off, and that was, what are these things that are killing everyone? They didn't pay it off. That's the whole purpose of the
Hey,
movie.
look, it could
What's
have been
this
worse.
disaster? No, it's a disaster movie. Then you didn't explain it. What is this disaster?
It could have been the happening where it was like the trees killing people.
They resolved that. They said what
no,
it
but
was.
I'm saying it could have been worse. It could have been the trees are killing people. That could have been your
I
monster.
preferred that.
Yeah, but at least you knew what
actually.
it was. Yeah, I
I
understand.
prefer
I
that.
understand.
The plants are doing it. People.
And then they
Yeah.
did it again. It was weird as fuck. Yeah, I preferred that to.
Like I say, I like.
It's a strong
I like,
statement I'm about to make.
Really?
It's a strong statement. Yeah, I actually
Watch
think I
where
do.
you're going.
I think I do. It was weird as fuck acting, really weird. But that's kind of the movies that he does.
Let's see. I didn't like
Who?
The Happening
The Happening.
M. Night Shyamalan. I didn't, or whatever it was. I don't.
Was
I
that
didn't
was the
like that
acting weird?
Yes.
I just.
I
it
think
didn't really grab me.
Mark Wahlberg was at his depth.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg has-
Marky Mark.
He
He's
has,
gonna.
like-
if he ever hears
It's
this,
one
he's gonna be
character.
like, he's gonna punch
He
me in
has
the
like one
face.
depth.
One,
Exactly.
one,
He has
one.
one.
Angry,
He always
angry,
talks like this right here.
Angry
This is
Italian
whole
or white
acting
man,
thing.
whatever you want to call him, always
Irish,
have an
Irish.
issue. Yeah,
He's
angry
always
man.
Irish.
Hey,
Yeah.
He's Irish.
it's a good character though.
Yeah. I mean,
Angry.
I loved him in The Departed. I was like, that's one of the best. I was like, that's probably one of his best roles. In
I
Departed
like
and in
it.
Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights is
I like
definitely
the
by
stuff
far
he
his
does,
best.
but you got to look at it as like you have to go and look at it like, oh, it's a Marky Mark film. It's a Mark, you know, so you know. what
Don't
you're
say
getting
that
into
about
it.
him. He's gonna punch you in the face if he ever hears
Not if
this.
he's
and-
smart, because I'll break his legs. I mean,
Well, but for real.
No.
All right.
There is a professional like boxing coach out there, and he said that Mario Lopez and Mark Wahlberg are probably the best two fighters he trains, and he says that out of both of them, maybe Mario Lopez might age him out, which I think is so weird. But he said that the two of them, if they had ever chosen to go on that path, they could have had a career in boxing. So
I can tell you, Marky Mark.
think about that.
I did martial
Marky
arts.
Mark is not knocking Ken out
I did
that
martial
much.
arts off and on for 20 years. So I'm pretty sure I can think
All
about
right.
it.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming in today. As far as things that are coming up next week, we got acting class for anyone who has been showing up to class. It either will be Thursday or Friday. I believe I'm going to be teaching it. And also a production meeting should be coming up too. So for the people behind the cameras, if you do lighting, camera, whatever, there should be like a big thing coming, and we'll be going over where we are with everything. That's all coming up for next week. Keep your eye on the Facebook group, on the website, and your emails. We'll be sending them out. I want to thank Ken, Ruth, and June for coming in today.
Just because you know everybody's name.
Yeah, he's over there loud. He's like, yeah.
Very proud of that. And you guys got anything else you want to say before we go?
Tell them about your show. Tell them about your thing.
Juneanne.
Actually, sorry, can't do that. We have a rule against that.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't like that rule.
All right. Okay. So anyway, for me, I want to encourage you guys to come to Temple Film Network classes. I promise you guys that it is worth it. The fact that it is free is like, you've got to be like stupid not to decide that you want to come to a free class. I mean, literally, I have the ability to go to paid classes, and I choose this man because even from the first time I started, I saw the potential in him to be a great teacher. I haven't had the opportunity to be with the other teacher. I've only been with TJ, and I can tell you, I see him getting better and better and better every time I'm in that class. Last week, you were phenomenal in giving us instructions. So yes,
Thank
You're up to $100, man.
so really,
$100.
not joking. That's not even BS. That's real. Again, the key word is free, and a lot of times people say, "Oh, if it's free, well, then it's not going to be that good." I promise you, it is going to be worth your time spending that gas, and maybe because depending on where it is, you have to pay a parking fee. But hopefully, he doesn't do it where the parking fee places are. So, but true guys, come on out and add this onto your resume. I think down the line, I see Tampa Film Network being a major source of where they are going to look when they're pulling people from the Tampa Bay area. So that's my piece.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
She didn't say nothing.
Oh, me?
Ruth.
Oh, don't really have much to say. I think I already said everything I said.
Ruth will be back, won't you?
I tried.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be back this
We
year.
might actually, you know what we might do is we might actually watch a movie and comment on it while we're watching it.
Oh, like
Kinda
a
the
director's.
yeah.
Oh, I like that. Let's
Viewers
do that.
commentary.
Yeah,
We'll call it the
something-
movie companion or something like
oh,
that.
yeah, that'd be
So we have to
super
get
fun.
this
Wait,
to
hold on.
work.
What movie are we watching?
We won't
first of all?
actually be able to show it because it'll get taken down on YouTube. But what
Yeah.
it is
Oh,
we'll
I got you. Yeah, okay.
we'll
yeah.
line up the timing so that if somebody's watching it, they can like play this along with the movie and like
Gotcha.
hear the
You
commentary.
can't do it under, critique and things like that. Cause
You can only do certain amount of seconds at a time.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to do the whole entire thing. We just do like or we could dissect somebody's
We're
work.
supposed to do that today, but
It did just
What
didn't work
happened
out.
was-
Didn't work out.
the thing didn't work out. But we'll get it fixed.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
get
I
it
would-
solved next time.
I would truly like to come back, but please, guys, have me back on a movie that I've seen because I felt like,
Yeah.
I thought I told you it was going to be Bird Box.
no, I didn't see that. I promise to God, I did not see that you said it was Bird Box. I know
Okay.
you said it was on film commentary, but I think you used the word film but I didn't see the word Bird Box. If not, I had time today. I could have gone and
Okay.
seen the darn movie. So,
All right. Well,
You could have
Or
watched
pull it
the
up on
movie
Netflix.
as you were
Yeah,
talking.
exactly.
yeah. Oh,
You gotta just flash to all those things we were talking about. We're like, yeah, that was
anytime you see a post from Tampa Film Network, make sure you read everything because sometimes, even if it looks like it's been recycled, sometimes little things change.
okay.
But you'll definitely see Bird Box in there if you
Okay.
go back and see.
All right, I'll go back and take a look.
Thanks, guys, and follow Tampa Film Network on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our website is tampafilmnetwork.org. Thanks so much.
Look at all the socials.
See you later, folks.
We're out.
Happy New 2019.
Maybe we're not.